did I not tell you about the story of the presentation? I thought I did. Did I not? I thought I did. There was in one of my classes, I was kind of talking about like a presentation about how you relieve stress or like how to manage stress or something. And then, you know, many people, okay, yeah, I could tell you the story. Yeah, why not? It's basically a story about how, people, it was a presentation about like how to manage stress. You know, many of the students were like yoga, reading a book, you know, and I was going to be like, I like deep tissue massages. Is my back hurts like heck. Like I have really bad back pain. My shoulder pain is actually like problematically bad. So I really like deep tissue massages. And I was gonna say, I was like, I took a day. I was kind of like doing some research on like, you know, massages, the benefits of deep tissue massages. And I was like, you know what? I feel like the real way I actually relieve stress is not in massages. It's actually streaming with you guys and like, you know, having fun on stream and talking to you guys. I think that's where I have the most fun anyway. So I'm like, I guess I could just hide it, or I could just bawl, right? And I was kind of thinking about this, like, but like, you know, what are the chances that this person actually knows who I am? And I remember sitting in the class and just kind of looked left and right. I was like, nah. So I decided to make a whole presentation about VTubing, about literally my existence as Ver Vermillion. You know, the industry of VTubing, about streaming. I remember I went up to the presentation. I was like, hey guys, so do you guys know what Twitch is? Some people are like, yeah, maybe. You guys know what streaming is? Like, yeah, Instagram Live. Do you guys know what VTubing is? I'm like, what is that? I'm like, so VTubing is basically where you act as, well, not act, well, I mean, you know what I mean. Basically, you become an anime character. Now I think about it, it's kind of crazy that I did that. Now I think about it, that's insane. But yeah, basically I was like, yeah, you could be an anime character and then you could show your face to the world. People are like, oh. I was like, yeah, anyone know what a VTuber is? Nope. So I talked about, you know, how VTubing is a very big thing. I mentioned how, like, you know, Iron Mouse, for instance, was literally the highest sub count. She hit the highest sub counts in Twitch, for instance. I did one about Saikuno, who so fun. So I'm like, yeah, so as you can see, VTubing actually has a pretty crazy influence across cultures. It has, you know, been through platforms. And people are like, oh, interesting. And I was like, and by the way, this is me! This is me, Ver Vermillion of Nijisanji EN. People are like, okay, that's kind of nerdy. It's kind of weeby. That's kind of weird. And they're like, and I'm like, yeah, and I have about 200,000 subscribers. They're like, oh, so cool. So it was actually a very therapeutic moment, because it was my first time openly telling people like, hey, this is me. And don't worry, nothing came out of it, because again, I was like 99% sure these guys wouldn't give a damn. Like they wouldn't give a damn. Did anyone look me up? Honestly, maybe one or two, but I really highly doubt it, because I don't think they'll give a damn about VTubing. They're too busy. But it was funny. It was very fun. Hannah Montana moment, I guess. I was like, yeah, guess what? I'm actually Hannah Montana. I'm actually Ver Vermillion. And it was actually a really good presentation. The professor smiled. He gave me a good thing. At least one person knew? No. So that's why I started off by saying, does anyone know what VTubers are? And if anyone raised their hand and said, I know what a VTuber is, I would have been like, Professor, I have a different presentation that I would like to do instead. I have a sub presentation. No, yeah. No, but the thing is though, one reason why I don't like that is obviously because it's dangerous, but also there was one person who ended up finding out who I was. It was actually kind of scary. It was actually really bad. So after making a presentation, there was a guy who decided it was a good idea to tell other people that this guy is a huge VTuber. And most people are like, I don't care, right? There was this one person who's like, wait, I actually watch Hololive. I know Nijisanji. I don't really watch Nijisanji. I watch a lot of Hololive. Ver Vermillion is this guy? Oh my god. And I think he was trying not to be rude about it, but he came up to me and I was like, so I heard that you're actually Ver Vermillion and Nijisanji. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I guess. I mean, it's not a big deal, I guess. I mean, as long as you're not weird about it. Just asking, and he starts asking really annoying questions. He's like, yo, like, what was it like, you know, after like last year, April? How did you feel? And I'm like, Like, if you ask me, like, yo, how's VTubing? Is it cool? You know, like, oh, that must be awesome. I'm like, oh, that's fine. You know, like, that's pretty cool. That's awesome. I'd be fine. But he's like, yeah, dude, like, do you have any insider info? What was it like to know this person? I'm like, oh, that is just... Brother, I tried my best to, like... I tried my best to be like, yeah, you know, because I know this guy. I mean, he's a friend too, you know? And I was like, yeah, no, yeah, no, it was... Yeah, it was hard. You know, anyway, I gotta go study, you know? And I was... So ever since, I'm like, I'm never ever going to, ever again. Because that's too much. You think I might see this VOD? I'm graduating, buddy. I don't care. I'm not going back out of school. I don't care. After that, I decided, yeah, no, this is too dangerous. Like, I knew for a fact that no one in my class was gonna be weird about it because they just don't care. But like, I should have known that at least one person. I just kind of imagined if there was someone who did care, they would be a little more respectful about it. But they weren't. So, which, I mean, I'm sure in his perspective, it was probably fine, but it wasn't for me. Never again. And if Mana-san is watching, I do apologize. It will never happen again. Please don't fire me. Don't make this graduation an actual graduation.